good. Ooh, awesome. I know they've changed a few things with Zoom, because yesterday I also joined a Zoom call, and it was there was a few things that were different. Hi, Liz.
Hi, Liz. Yeah, Zoom's definitely changed up. It's got this meeting is being recorded, this meeting is being paused, and when you press the recorded, I could choose whether to continue or leg it and run out of the meeting.
I know. So we'll just wait a couple more minutes to see, because sometimes some people are coming in, and then I'll just put the Zoom link on Facebook, and let's just make sure nobody's looking for us.
Awesome. Let me pop it over on my Facebook page as well quickly. Not my page, my profile.
Okay, cool. It doesn't seem to be anything, so 10:03. Awesome. Liz is in Ottawa too, actually.
Well.
Where are you, Lesley?
Right now, I am. Where am I? Right now, I'm in Shropshire.
Cool.
I didn't tag you. Is it coming up? I've just got your whole page, I think. Julie C. Butler, lifestyle photographer.
No, that's my Juice Stock by Jules. Are you looking for the Facebook group, or?
No, just to tag your personal profile. It's just coming up strange.
Oh, just Julie C. Butler.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was. Julie C. Oh, now it comes up.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, we'll get started, and then if people hop on, I'll let them in, and then we'll have the replay. So yay! So I'm super excited to have today with us Lesley. I don't even know how we met. Lesley, was it in a? Was it?
No idea. I just think I've always known you.
It was definitely online over the last 6 months, I think. I think maybe we were in a course together. Wasn't it the manifesting one from Jenna?
Yes, it might have been.
Yes,
that's right.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so that's.
I remember.
I know. I was thinking about it this morning. I'm like, when did I even meet Lesley? I'm like, I can't even remember. And then we became friends, and then, just been following each other. So that's like really, I love sharing these stories, because it's really the power of online businesses. How, like they say all the time, it's lonely being an entrepreneur, but it really isn't, because we can make these. I know, and like, look, you're on the other side of the pond, and I'm in Canada, and I'm making these friends all over the world. It's great, because it's really cool to make friends in different countries and different, like, I don't know, different like personalities, but we all like-minded,
Absolutely. I mean, we've all got that thing in common where we're all super passionate, super ambitious. We really want to help other people. And at the end of the day, get a bunch of women together to have a chat. It's going to go well. It's just
yes.
Fun, right?
Yes, exactly. So anyway, so I'm going to get Lesley, I'm going to get you to introduce yourself, what you do, who you help, and all that good stuff. And then we'll get into what we're here to talk about today, which is how to go from unknown to unmissable and get books, right? Which is something we all want. And so this is something that I love talking about or learning about, because don't we all want to get booked, right? And so I'm going to let you take the floor, and we'll get started.
Cool. Yeah, we're super excited for this. Julie, thank you so much for having me on. Hey, Liz, good to meet you as well. Good to see you here. So I'm Lesley Notton. I'm the marketing and mindset coach, and I help female coaches, therapists and online service providers to get more clients, to get booked, to get more leads, to get more calls booked in, and basically to make more money doing the thing that they love doing and doing it via free and organic social media marketing. So that is what I do. It is what I absolutely love. You might have to tell me to shut up at some point because I can talk about this forever. Yeah, that is what I do. I've been doing it for 3 years now. And before that, I ran my own photography business for over 10 years. So
you're not a photographer. Why did I not know that?
So as I like to say, I have been happily unemployed for way over a decade. Super proud of that. I could never go back to a corporate job. But yeah, I think, also, I think there's probably another reason why I connected with you as well. You're a photographer. I used to be when I did portraits and weddings as well. So loved it, but so different from what I do now in the fact that now I have time freedom. Big difference.
So completely different, because photography is a service-based business and it's local for if you are not willing to travel, right? And when I was doing the photography as well, like me too, I've had my share of weddings and everything, but I had little kids. I couldn't just leave to go shoot somewhere else, right? So and I live in Ottawa, which is big enough, but it's 1 million people, right? So there's only so many jobs you can get, and if you don't shoot, you don't make money. So it's one of those also businesses that it's a belly to belly, there's nothing wrong with that, but I was always looking for ways to expand beyond that. So that's kind of how I got to where I am now.
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, when I was doing it, I absolutely loved it. Part of what I did was focusing on women's portraits. So it was about empowering women and giving them that confidence, which was something that was really important to me. But so obviously I've brought that part of things through to my current business as well, so marketing and mindset. But it was just the case of, like you say, Monday to Friday, you would work behind the scenes on your business, and, Saturdays and Sundays, you'd go out and shoot. And then at the time, again, I had little kids, and I was like, I'm just not spending the time with them. Like this, it's great to run your own business, but it's important to run your own business in the way that fits your lifestyle.
Yes.
So that's something that I seriously learned when, I did that for 10 years and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm knackered, right? I can't do this forever. I can't do this when I'm, 50, 60, 70, 80. So what am I going to do? So I just went, okay, I'm going to do what I always wanted to do, which was coach, help other people to be the best that they can be and create their own amazing businesses, because it's such a transformation.
That's amazing. And I'm hearing a lot more also of the misconception that to be successful, we have to work hard and work a lot, but that's so false, right?
Oh, so false, so old school. It is what we were taught kind of, our parents a bit, and our grandparents and our great grandparents, and it was the whole industry of, right, the world and the government and the industries and the economics and everything. You wanted factory workers, you wanted people that would work hard constantly all the time, all day, and then they would get paid for it. If they didn't go to work, they didn't get paid. And it's still that same belief system that's been filtered through, but it's just not true anymore because things are so different nowadays. As you say, we've got the internet. This morning I was talking to a client in Cambodia. We've got the internet. It's incredible what we can now do that we couldn't do before. And it's just amazing to be able to help so many people and have that ripple effect that they then help so many other people, which I love.
Yes, I love it. Awesome. So tell us a little bit about how it is that you help your clients with the mindset and going from the unknown to the unmissable and getting booked.
Yeah, so cool. So as I said, I could talk about this forever, so just stop me when you're ready to go.
Sounds good.
4 key points that I wanted to go through.
I love that.
So I find, first of all, with me, I strongly believe that marketing and mindset goes hand in hand. I don't think you can have, in fact, I know for a fact you can't have a strong marketing strategy and your mindset be really shot, and you don't have the confidence and you don't have the that belief in yourself and what it is that you're doing. And likewise, you can have all the confidence and belief in the world, but if you don't have that marketing strategy, you're not going to be able to pull those two things together to get clients. So those two things absolutely, I believe, go hand in hand. So the first step in my little 4-step kind of overall bird's eye view here is, if you want to go from being unknown to being unmissable, right? So when I started my business, as I said, I was a photographer before that. So nothing to do with the coaching industry. I didn't know anything about the coaching industry. I didn't know any people in it. I didn't have any audience, email list, groups, nothing, right? So I was completely and utterly unknown, right? And I would like to think in some spheres, I'm a little bit unmissable right now. I mean, you can't miss me, right? But at least I'm now known, you know, people know me in my niche and for what I do. So it's really important. The very first thing is to get that clarity. So being clear is something I think we hear a lot, and it goes in one ear and out the other ear. I think it's something that people say and know that they need, but they don't actually have that clarity. And the thing with clarity is that it can change. So for instance, let's say that you are getting super clear on who you are and who you help. So for instance, for me, I'm a marketing and mindset coach, and I help female coaches, therapists, and service-based providers. So that's what I do. But that wasn't what I did when I first started out. I wasn't as clear as that when I first started out. I was like, I want to help everyone. I want to help all the women who want to own a business. I want to help product-based and service-based businesses. I want to help, you know, somebody who bakes cakes make their own business, and somebody who is a therapist. But the thing is, those are two very different ways that you speak to those people and very different languages that you use. So getting that crystal clear clarity is so important. Not only does it help you with what you're saying and what you're doing, but it gives you that confidence that you need in order to put yourself out there.
And Lesley, I think it's, sorry, oops, yeah. I think we have a delay.
Go straight ahead, yeah.
I think it's also that whole clarity and ideal client. It's something that I used to resist myself. I was like, I have it in my head. I don't need to do this. And yeah. I resisted it. It's like I was like, didn't want to do it, right? Because you have that fear of missing out. But the more clear you are, the better results you'll find that you have, right? And it's same with mindset. We tend to skip over that part because we think, I've got my mindset in check, I'm good. And so we don't do the work. But if we don't, I think, nip this clarity and the mindset in the bud at the beginning, you're going to see your business, I think, like struggle on, and you might have some results, but you find yourself plateauing or whatever, and then you're like, what is happening? What's not working? And then if you really,
why? Because you weren't clear in the first place.
Exactly. And then if you go and you're like, okay, let's go back to the beginning and talk about, let's do the clarity and the mindset, then you're like, that's what I should have done.
Exactly. So it's kind of like, if you imagine somebody wants to build a house. A lot of people are like, okay, so the first thing we need to do is build the foundations, and then we can build the rest of the stories of the house. But actually it's not. The first step, which is your mindset and clarity in our world, in that kind of building a house scenario, the first step is the architect's plans. Those plans have got to be crystal clear so they know where to build the foundation, how deep things should be, what materials to use, where everything should be planned out and laid out. And if you don't follow those plans, your house is going to end up being all wonky and all over the place if you're just trying to, like, you know, piece it together with Lego type thing, right? So it's that getting really clear right at the beginning. And you're completely right. If you don't know your ideal client, you don't know who you want to help, because it's not all about them. It's also about you, who you actually want to work with. And if you don't know your offer, like inside out, like, and believe it is the best thing it could possibly be, and the best thing for everybody who are your ideal clients to actually want and need, then you're gonna find that you're kind of rocky and your foundations are wobbling straight away from the beginning. And as you say, you might get some clients, but you might find you're on that roller coaster up and down a bit, financially or with clients and consistency, because you don't have that clarity first. So it is really, really super important. And as you say, it is something that I think we can skip over a little bit. Sometimes when you get like an online course or a program where you're working with a coach and they want to go through that bit first, you're like, oh, I don't need to do that lesson, I've done that before. No, always do that lesson. Always do that lesson, because I guarantee you will learn something new in it. And things change, things tweak and change and shift as you go on in your business. So just because you did it 6 months ago does not mean to say that things haven't tweaked just a little bit that you need to know about right now in your business too.
You know what I find myself, I every course, it doesn't matter what it is, the first thing they always get you to do is mindset and ideal clients.
Yeah.
There's a reason for that, right? So now what I do, if I start a new course or something like that, I redo it. I redo the exercise to make sure that I am still at the place where I still am serving that person. And, I think that today at this point, I need to redo this exercise because I think it may have shifted a little bit. So this is a fantastic reminder that it's something that it's okay to do it in the beginning, but it's something that, you might have to tweak over time, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. And it doesn't mean that you've done it wrong in the past. It just means that it might have shifted. And the other thing I think that people often forget is their ideal client can be different, and usually is different, depending on which offer you're putting out. Because if you're putting out, offer A, you might need this kind of ideal client, but offer B might be in a completely different place. Those people who need that. So your ideal clients are two different types of people. So it's really important to go through that when you're doing, any offer that you're bringing out as well. So that's number one, being super clear on yourself, your offer, who you help, who your ideal client is, and, remembering that you need to love your ideal client. It's not just, I want to work with these type of people because I think that they're a good niche to work with. You want to really make sure that you love working with that person. So the second thing is obviously about getting visible. It's about getting out there. It is about getting known. It is about showing your face whenever you can, even if you're scared of it, which I used to be terrified of doing it. Just a couple of years back, the idea of going on a Zoom or going on live streams and doing things like that, oh my God, did absolutely terrify me. But getting visible is really important, but there are different parts, different segments of getting visible. So on one side of things, it is the literally showing your face, showing you as a person. So having that profile photo, doing lives, doing guest expert spots, making sure you're getting out there and people are seeing you as a person. The other side of it is you don't always have to show your face in order to type some great content and be visible by people seeing your name and your profile photo and putting that content out there. So I think there's kind of two sides to visibility. I once heard somebody say that, I will say it was a guy who said this. He thought that going live was being vain because you wanted the engagement back. Whereas if you just pre-recorded a video and put it out there, then that wasn't vain because you were just delivering the information. And I was like, what? I would love to know what this was about 2 years ago. I'd love to know what this guy thinks now and if he's changed his mind at all. But the thing is, there is nothing about visibility that is vanity. It is not about you or how good you look or anything like that. It is about showing up for people so that they get to know you, they get to like you, they can trust you, they build a relationship with you. And that ultimately is how you book clients, is by having that connection with people. And people like face-to-face. Like I said, when we first came on this live together today, I was like, I've seen your name and your photo and things like that all around, but it was so lovely to see you as close to in the flesh as we can possibly get. That's such an amazing thing to be able to do. And we're so lucky that we can do it now.
So lucky.
Yeah, visibility is definitely step two. And as I said, there are those two sides of things. So it doesn't mean you have to show your face all the time, but it does mean you have to be around all the time, as consistently as you possibly can. Does that make sense?
Yeah. It does. And I think that if there was any secret sauce to this whole business thing, roller coaster thingy journey that we're on, I think it is this visibility. Because without visibility, you don't get new people in your business. No, so and we have to consistently be in front of new people all the time, because that's how we get into in front of new people. So new people to like, trust, and know, like, and trust us, right? Yeah. Whatever order that's in, but it's so.
I'm
it's
sure
so
I normally say
important.
like, know, and trust.
I know. I know, but sometimes, when your business is maybe not working as well as you want it to work or whatever, if you think about how visible are you getting in front of new people? Is your email list growing? Is your community growing? If it's not growing and you're always promoting your offers and your services to the same audience, eventually you're going to cap out, right? And I think that if there was any secret sauce to, having an online business and having success with, it's visibility, right?
It's keeping, that leads us in perfectly to number 3, which is growing your audience, because it's feeding the fire. You've got to consistently feed the fire. Like if you put a bunch of logs, I'm coming up with all these analogies today. This is so not like me. But if you've got a fireplace and you've got all these logs there and you're burning it all up, and that's you selling and you're talking to those people, eventually it's going to burn out. There's going to be nothing left to burn. Like the logs are going to disintegrated into dust, right? So you've got to consistently be feeding that fire with new logs. So in your business, it works the same way. You've got to be having new leads, new audience members, new ideal clients coming into your world, which on Facebook is your Facebook group, which is really important. Also your Facebook friends list for your profile, and have those people come into your world so that you can talk to them, so you can build that like, know, and trust. Growing your audience consistently, as you say, is so important. One of the things that people often talk to me about, like if I'm chatting to a new client or something, I'll be like, okay, so how often did you when was the last time you made a sale, or when was the last time you did a guest expert spot, or when was the last time you grew your email list? And if it wasn't today or yesterday, I'm like, okay, we need to work on that, because it has to be every single day. Those are the things that have to happen every day without fail. And I know, sometimes we can forget or mess up or whatever, or not feel like it, but you've just got to, get right back on that horse and keep going with it.
Mm-hmm. And tapping into that, what's important to know, so sometimes it's like, and I even get into that trap of thinking that I'm oversharing, right? But I think I'm just reminding myself now that there is no such thing, because of the algorithm of Instagram and the algorithm of Facebook and Pinterest. Only, 5% of the people see your content. And so if, like my friend said to me last week, she's like, have you been promoting your offer? Because I didn't see it. I'm like, yes. Like, that's a perfect example.
This is the thing. Yeah, and right? This is the thing.
I'm like, I shared it on my email. I shared it in my Facebook group. She's like, I didn't see it. I'm like, there you go. And you're my best friend. So.
Yeah. So if you're not checking out my post, then we're in trouble, right?
Yeah.
But this is exactly the thing. Like, how often are you actually doing those things? Because as you say, your Facebook page, only 1 or 2% of people will see your post. 1 to 2%. That's kind of useless, right? It's kind of useless. Your Facebook group is more like 30 to 40%, which is why, again, another reason why a group is so great. Your personal profile, I don't know the exact stat on it because it differs, but if you can get your engagement up on your personal profile, it's an amazing place to be able to then post something else. Now, just to be clear, I don't say outwardly sell and outright sell on your personal profile, because it's a bit of a gray area with Facebook. Mm-hmm. So I always say don't outright sell, but you can talk about your business, you can give things away for free, you can invite people into your group, there's nothing wrong with any of those things. So yeah, just making sure that you are doing those things and remembering that not everybody sees everything. I always like to get my clients to do a little test, and I'll say, right, grab your phone and I want you to set a timer, spend 1 minute on Instagram scrolling through, and try and remember some of the posts you see. Then go on LinkedIn or go on Facebook and do the same. You can do this for all 3 platforms. within 3 minutes, doing 1 minute on each, you won't see the same thing on each platform. Like, I guarantee you won't see the same thing on each platform. So never be afraid to repurpose content onto different platforms. Never be afraid to post the same thing more than once, because people don't see it.
Mm-hmm. And I think, yeah, and I know the algorithm, and I get stuck in that too. I'm like, well, I already shared it on my Facebook group, so I'm good, but really I'm not. I should be sharing more. And I think that, you know, it's okay to give ourselves permission to share it. Like I have this one coach that she's kind of like I follow her stories, and so I see how she does it, and she's constantly continuously and consistently sharing her offers. And I'm like, I need to be doing that too. And so if you're sharing, if you have your courses open, for example, I shared on my stories, it's okay to share it tomorrow again, and the day after, and the day after, because that, again, that small percentage of people are seeing it, right? And so I think it's okay to give ourselves permission to overshare.
Absolutely. Because if you think you're sharing too much, you're still not sharing enough.
Yes.
There really is that. Like, if you think, oh my God, I can't do this again, you're like, yes, you can. Because I guarantee you 90% of your audience still haven't seen it. And it is, you know, as you say, it's really important to keep growing that audience. And this is how it grows, is with your content, which is number 4. So in our unknown to unmissable journey, number 4 is your content. And that content has got to be, as you said, you know, we've got to be consistent with it. We've got to keep sharing it. We've got to keep putting it out there, but we've got to make sure that it speaks to the right people, which goes back to number 1, which is why knowing and having that clarity is so important, because you're going to speak differently and use different words to a coach as you would to, let's say, a business coach, as you would to somebody who makes cakes, makes wedding cakes, right? You're going to say completely different things to those two people, which is why we talk about niching down and getting really clear on that, so that you know the words to use. Because in your content, which is, you know, your videos, your stories, your live streams, your text posts, your graphics, your emails, your blogging, you know, pre-recorded videos, guest expert spots, all this sort of stuff, podcasting, in all that content, the words that you use are what are going to connect you to your ideal client. And you want your ideal client to go, oh my God, you're reading my mind. Like, I literally sat there and said that yesterday morning. I literally was trying to sleep last night, but I couldn't because I was worrying about that. And if you can connect with those things, that's when your clients are going to be like, or your potential clients are going to be like, she knows me. She gets exactly where I'm at and where I'm coming from and where I want to go to. And that's so, so, so important in order to get yourself booked up with clients.
Yes, you're so right. And sometimes also, it doesn't have to be like content every day, but whatever it is that you choose to do, be consistent with that. Yeah. Because if you stop for like a week or 2 weeks, then you haven't been consistent, and you know the algorithm is not going to like you for that. So right, and so you're going to have to start over again. So I love this, because these 4 key things are the exact system or formula that you should follow, and always keep it simple, right? And I think that, you know, we tend to get in our heads a little bit or a lot and overanalyze things, right? And if I've learned anything in the last year or so, is that, you know, just to be my authentic self and share from a place of love and care, right? And authenticity. Be myself, and people want to hear from who you are as a person. And so I think I got into a lot of analysis paralysis, and I think I was comparing as well. We can get into all of these things, right? And then I think that as soon as I started following, I started, you know, I unsubscribed from some email lists, I unfollowed on social media platforms and everything. I think that subconsciously it gave me permission to be myself. And that was the best thing I could have done.
Yeah, that was a really big thing for me as well. As I said, you know, when when I first started out, I was like terrified of going live. You got to realize I spent the last 10 years literally physically hiding behind a camera, like behind it so nobody could see me. Like, you can't get any more literal of my fear than that, right? And then I had to go and do this. So I know people are probably thinking this, so like, how do you get over that kind of thing? And what I did was, the first thing I did was, when I was writing a blog post, I got 1 or 2 images of me. In fact, it was one. For a long time, like over a year, I used one image, but I posted that image on the graphic for the blog post. So it had the blog post title and that one image of me. And I just used that. And then whenever I shared it on social media, I got used to seeing that photo of me. And I was like, oh, it's not so scary anymore. And now sometimes my VA will do a bit of posting for me on social media, and I'll create the content and she'll go and post it for me. And I've got like a folder with all these images in that I wouldn't say I love, but I'm like, okay, they're usable. We can manage those, right? They're okay. And she put a photo up the other day and I was like, oh my God, she used that one. And I was like, that's fine. Like, and I was like, well, if I'm like, it's okay. Like, I might not have picked it, but obviously to her, it was absolutely fine. And to everybody else who ever saw it, it's going to be absolutely fine. So, that first thing I did was really, get used to seeing myself on the social media, because it was weird to start with, like seeing photos of you come up as you're scrolling through your newsfeed on your phone. Like, it's a bit weird at first, but, making sure that you do that. And that really, really helps. And then with the live streams, what I did was, I went into my Facebook group. I said, hey, I'm going live on this topic every day at 10 a.m. this week. And I'd made that commitment. And to me, if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. So like, that's really, really passionate about that. So I was like, okay, I've made that commitment. So I had to go live and do it every week. But literally by day 2 and definitely by day 3, I was loving it, because of, the engagement, the interaction with people, getting to know them so much more, having fun. It doesn't mean I've never made mistakes, forgotten what I was going to say. The dogs barked. I've been live sideways once in a group full of thousands of people. It doesn't mean those things don't happen. It just means that you go, okay, do you know what? Laugh it off and carry on, because then you're showing you and your personality. And that is truly what attracts people to you. And those are the people that you want to work with, because,
yes,
like attracts like you have your friends for particular reasons. They are your friends for reasons, because they are like you in some way, shape or form. And your ideal clients will be like that too.
And it's relatable. I think that's the key to this whole online business world now. It's being relatable. People can relate, and I think also it inspires them to do the things, because we're not showing up perfect. We're not showing up, we're not showing up with all kinds of makeup on and hair done up. And, sometimes I'm like, no makeup on, let's use a filter. Yes. Right? But there's nothing wrong with that. And
I used to do that. That used to be another way that I kind of got around it, was like, I'm going to use a filter with some like fake lashes, so it looks like I've actually got eyes. And I did that a few times, and now, like, sometimes it used to drive me nuts, and I'd get so nervous if I couldn't find a filter on my phone, or I'd click on one and it gave you some stupid horns or something silly. And I was like, oh my God, I'd get so nervous trying to find this. It'd be like a minute to the time I was meant to be going live. And then one time I was just like, do you know what? I can't find it. I'm just going to have to do it without it. So I did it without the filter. And then now I go back, and I actually did this yesterday. I looked at one of the videos that's in my Facebook group. There's a few of them there. And I can see me with the filter on, and I can see these lashes moving around like anything. And I'm like,
I know.
Oh my God, Lesley, like, seriously, that is worse than anything else you could have done. But again, laugh it off. I was always open and honest with people. I would say, I'm, if people would ask whatever, I would say, yeah, I'm using a filter today. So it makes me look like I'm awake or whatever. I never hid the fact. And I think that's important. Like, if you're going to use that, like, it's not because you're trying to be somebody you're not. It is more because you're trying to boost your own confidence. But when you realize that you've actually got that confidence yourself, you kind of go, whatever. Who needs lashes?
Exactly. That's all so good. Do you have any questions about anything, Liz?
Yeah, and it's funny because, I love that, people can do the Facebook Lives every day at the same time. However, with what I do, I can't always do at the same time. So is it just best just to announce when you're going to be on, regardless of what time, or is it really important to try to be that consistent at the same time every day?
Yeah, I think so. The key in what you do is to be consistent with it, no matter what that is for you. So if you can, for instance, only go live, and we're just using live as an example, if maybe you can only do it Wednesdays at 2 o'clock, then do it at Wednesdays 2 o'clock every week. I always find creating an event beforehand is always a good thing as well. And for instance, if there's one week where you can't do it at 2 o'clock, you can just say, hey, something's come up, or, I can't do it at 2 o'clock today. Or, maybe it's like you do Tuesdays and Thursdays at 2 o'clock, but Fridays are at 4 o'clock, or whatever, whatever it is for you, just be consistent as you can with that, so that people know to come and expect that. I always say, like when you would watch like Home and Away or Neighbours or EastEnders, you knew what day and what time that show was on, right? So you would like get ready to go and do that. And that's kind of what you want for your audience, that they come to expect that you're going to show up. Like, for instance, my group, I do a Monday masterclass at 12 midday every Monday. So they know that. So they know 12 o'clock, midday, Monday, right, let's go chat to Lesley and get some training. And it's just being as consistent as you possibly can. Obviously, there are times where things don't happen, right? But as much as you can is the important part.
So is it at least once a week, or you should be trying to do it more often? And it's funny because, sometimes I think it's like you guys were talking earlier about, sharing the content over again. And sometimes I feel like I'm doing it over and over and over, and oh my God, they're going to say I've already heard that, but
they won't. No. I've never ever had anybody say to me, you've done this training before, or I've heard you talk about this before, or anything like that. Absolutely never. And it's either because they genuinely have never heard it before, or maybe they heard it before, but they didn't hear it before. It didn't sink in before. It wasn't the right time for them before. And that's always a really good thing. So when it comes to your question, Liz, about how often to do like lives, I would say once a week minimum is a really good kind of baseline. I've done it before where I've gone live every day. Sometimes I do that for like a week or two, maybe if I'm launching or up into a launch, or I'm just growing something or something special's on. I will do it more often, but I always try to keep once a week as a minimum. And I think that's a good amount.
Okay.
I need to get onto that train. This is one of my goals for June. I want to schedule myself. I want to plan content to show up live once a week. But going back to Liz's question about the time, I think, Liz, that if you know ahead of time what your schedule is and you plan them for the next month and they're at different times, but you create the events, people are going to get used to you. Yeah, people are going to used to you coming at different days and different times, and which could also be like, people will be like excited because, I can't always do that time, but this time works better for me. So now you're working with other people's schedules too. And so maybe a handful of different people will be able to come as before they couldn't because they had a conflicting something. So I think that
you've got people all around the world, don't we? So
exactly.
It's that case of, sometimes, I do the midday lives, and I had somebody say to me once, are you really doing this at 2 a.m. in the morning? And I was like, no, where in the world are you? I'm like, you can check the time here on like Time Buddy or whatever, but there's always a replay for you. So the other thing I always do is say to people, if you really want the training but you can't make it live, like write a comment or like this post and I'll tag you in the replay. And that way, you're doing your bit by helping them out as well. But also, they get the content and stuff that they need. So that's always a really good thing to do.
Okay. And because I know, like, if I work with entrepreneurs, and I know some of them have side hustles, so they're working full time during the day and do it in the evening, whatever. And then it's like this whole COVID thing has kind of messed up all of that you know, when can I do things? I'm going, okay, so I'm just going to just try different things and see what happens. But, you know, it's like, it almost seems like there's crickets a lot. So, you know, there's nothing.
If you're getting crickets, it's because of not enough consistency, or because you're not asking the right engagement type questions, either in your lives or on your content that you're posting as well. So yeah, there's definitely some things there, but it is a case of the more you do it, the more people will start to reply, as long as you're doing the right stuff.
Yeah, I'm starting to notice, especially now, that a lot of the people that are coming on board are newbies or early in their entrepreneurial journey.
Yeah, I've
kind
seen a
of
lot
getting
of
that now. So, but before it was like I would get them from all different. It was just, you know, they had a mess with their books, and that was the problem. That was the problem. But I'm really seeing with COVID, it's a lot of newbies and startups and whatever. So it's helping me, like you said, you know, to have the right words, use the right words and whatever, so they can identify. So
Yeah.
but yeah, so I'm figuring it all out again.
Cool. Well, it sounds like you're doing a great job.
And sometimes we have to shift, right, Liz? Sometimes we have to shift with the waves.
Oh yeah, well I've been doing that for years, right? So I mean.
Yeah. I know you've been in business for a long time, but also I think sometimes they're not engaging, but they're watching from the sidelines.
I've seen that happen too. Every once in a while, I'll meet somebody from a different part of town and going, "I love your stuff," and I'm going, "Well, you don't comment. How do I know stuff?" And so,
comment on it.
I know somebody's watching.
Yeah, but it does happen. I've had people who literally will be in my Facebook group or on my profile, and I'll have not heard a peep out of them ever. And then they'll send me a DM and go, "Look, I really loved your training. I've just watched it." Again, they didn't comment on it, but they send me that message saying, "I've just watched this. I really loved it. I would love to work with you. Can you help me with XYZ?" And they turn it into a client. And so there are people who don't comment, but they do still take notice of what you're putting out there. Absolutely. It does happen.
Yeah, actually, I recently had that happen where I did a 21-day let's get organized, so your books, right? And I just did it just because I thought, I really want to help people during COVID. It's free. It'll help them get rid of some of the overwhelm and stress or whatever. And, one gal ended up, she says, "I knew when I heard you speak and you were in that other group," she says, "I knew I could talk to you and not accountants." I'm going, yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
And so we're starting helping with the training, whatever. But
cool.
Yeah, I like what you said, Julie, about not oversharing, because I share all the time, and I've had coaches saying you share too much. I'm going, I don't think so. But no.
I don't think you can ever share too much. You're always learning. You're always growing. People don't always see everything. There are so many reasons, but you can never ever overshare. 100% believe that.
And if the right people will see your content at the right time. And it's like that person, that coach that I say I follow, I see all of her posts, but I don't care because I love who she is and how she is and everything, right? So it doesn't matter to me that I see the same thing every day because I love it,
Yeah. And that's the other thing, is you're not going to annoy people. And then another thing is people worry that they're going to annoy people. And it's like, well, you're not, because if they really like you as a person, it's not going to annoy them that you're putting some post up. And if, at the end of the day, if they really don't like something, you just scroll past. Like it's going to be a millisecond of their life. It's really not a big thing at all.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. This was so good. So, Lesley, I know that there's only the three of us here today, but there's going to be people watching the replay. So tell us, how can we find you, and how can we work with you, and how can we find you? And when I share the replay, I will share all of this good information.
Cool. Yeah. Well, thank you so much. I had so much fun today. Okay. So I hang out in my Facebook group. That is my ideal place to be. I love it in there. It's called the Female Coaches Lounge. It's got a longer title, but just type in Female Coaches Lounge and it comes up. It's absolutely awesome group in there, full of amazing women who are so supportive and incredible to each other. As I said, I do Monday masterclasses, lots of trainings and tips and things as well. And I also have a really epic free gift, which I am just literally today putting the finishing touches on, which if you'd like it as well, then feel free to let me know that. It is called the 7-step content system. No, it's not. It's called the 7-day content system.
Ooh, I love it.
It's called, yeah, that's how new it is, hot off the press. 7-day content system, which makes it really easy for you to put content out on your Facebook profile so that you're still within rules, but also attracting your ideal clients to you as well. So again, if you want that, I'm sure Julie will pop the link in for you guys, because it's you're gonna love it. Content.
That's amazing.
And fun.
That's amazing. I love it. I love it. I love it. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And this was a pleasure connecting with you and hearing about you training us on these things which are so important in our business. And so I'm just so grateful, and I'm blessed to have you in my life as a biz bestie.
Yay, love biz besties. Awesome. Yeah, as I said, Julie, absolutely awesome. So pleased we finally got around to doing this. So pleased that I could come here. Liz, it was really lovely talking to you as well. Really awesome. And yeah, I had loads of fun. So let's do it again whenever you want. Let's just keep going.
Yeah, thank you, ladies. It was a great break in my morning. Thank you.
Yay.
So I'm going to see more of you online, Liz.
You will. Yeah, probably.
Yeah, me too.
Cool beans. I'll hold you both to that.
Okay. Awesome. Have a great day, ladies.
Take care, everyone. Bye.
Take care. Bye.